Alright, this is Guy Solis again. I'm going to redo the scales on this little razor. This is one of my granddad's razor. I call it the ugly duckling. My uncle's got the prettier razors, but they don't even use them. I use this razor. So somehow the tips of both these scales got knocked off, as you can see. So I'm going to replace these. Now, I'm going to do this in short segments. I'm not going to do a 35-minute video like I did my last one. The scales I decided I'm going to use are these. They're like a nice chocolate brown, beautiful grain. The only thing about these is that they are so thick. Here's a here's a razor. Here's the scales on the razor for comparison. But they are so thick. So I'm going to have to really go through some changes. Excuse me. Go through some changes to get this one to work properly. So I'm going to use this technique. I learned this from I think the guy in Lewis Razors, maybe. Lewis Razors was doing this. I thought it was a good idea. I did it before on my my little prototypes here with that stir stick. So all you do really is just put a piece of paper like this. Don't seem quite long enough, but it'll be okay. So wipe off this excess, and like this. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So anyway, so all I'm going to do is put it like this. I cut out these pieces of cardboard like this, so I can put it in the vise. And the vise is just a simple tabletop jobby like this, and all I'm literally going to do is, and the only reason I'm doing this is because and it doesn't have to be flush on the ends or flush on the top. It can be a little bit sloppy, because the only thing that I'm doing this for is when I take it out of there, it's stuck together, so I have a better grip on my work. You know, there's more to grab. So when I sand it, I can sand it and have the great pleasure of being able to hold on to it without any issues. But when I start getting down to where they're getting thinner, then I'll start having some problems, but it's still going to be thick enough where I can still work it. I couldn't find my calipers, because that's another important deal when you're dealing with wood, is when you're sanding it, that it's going to sand uneven. And you want it to sand as even as possible, so you don't want to, 1/8 of an inch on one side and 3/16 in the middle, and then maybe 1/4 on the side or something like that. You want to check it with the calipers as you go, and this is going to be pretty cool, because this razor is pretty special to me, and it shaves just perfect. So it's going to be nice. So I will catch you again. I'm going to let this stuff dry, and I'll get you all caught up when I get to that point later. Okay, I have finished letting the glue dry on this scale. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove the old scales from here, polish it up a little bit so it looks really sweet, maybe even rehone it a little bit, but what I'm going to do, so I'm going to get these, and they are very thick. They're like twice as thick as I need them to be. And I'm going to just put them on my handy dandy belt sander. So let's get started with that. But first, a word from our sponsor. Hi, this is Guy Solis. Do you get tired of them itchy, scratchy, annoying stitches that are in your fingers like mine? Do you want to go to the panty waist doctor and have them remove those and spend a bunch of money on co-pays and spend all your time there and walk away with really nothing? I say no. I say take out your stitches He-Man style. So let's just do that, shall we? Let's see, what should I use for a tool to remove the stitches? Nah, that's overkill, probably. Let's use these to cut the stitches. Now, most of these stitches are pretty loose, and I'm going to kick myself if I make that wound bust open again, because as you know, I am not well adapted to sitting there doing nothing. So let me just have one, and keep in mind I have my glasses on, but that don't mean I can see well. So let's see. Just a little word of caution. I'm afraid to piss my wife off. James said she might try to poison me. Okay, just a little update. I got my wood sanded way down. I was using 180 grit. I wish I would have had some 50 and 60 grit. I would have made this job go a lot quicker. To remove the scales, which I did, I might try to repurpose these for something else. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long my granddad had these scales, but anyway, the best way to remove scales is with a drill press. But before you use a drill press, you want to get you something like this, and this is just a punch that I just sharpened into a point. And what you do is you put that point right in the center of that pin, and then you just give it a couple taps, and you create a little hole where your drill press, where the bit in your drill press can fit into, and it'll start cutting right away. Start cutting exactly where you want right away. It's not going to wander around, right? So that's a good tip right there. So anyway, I'm going to separate these two now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, I think what I'm going to do with this set is I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the pattern. No, I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because if I separate these, or if I trace the pattern on here and I cut out on my bandsaw, they're only going to be this wide. I may not be able to separate them without breaking them. So I'm going to separate them now, clean them up, trace a pattern on there, cut them out, and then put them back together with double-sided tape, and just shape them. And I'll be done soon. So that's my update. Okay, so I got my scales on the rack, and they have their last coat of shellac on them, and they look excellent. I made them a little bit narrower so that they can be a little more sleek looking. Anyway, so the next picture you're going to see is going to be the razor completely installed, everything done. So anyway, thanks for checking in, and remember, every day is a good day for a shave. Take care, man. Just a little word of caution. I'm afraid to piss my wife off. James said she might try to poison me.